Morning.
Morning. You're just going to have to excuse me looking that way most of the time.
In case you can't tell from the background with all the noise, it's probably more of a giveaway. We've just set off.
We are on our way to the Fellridge Tunnel.
We left in a little bit of a hurry because it's timed entry on the tunnel.
We slept in.
We just didn't really think about it, so we woke up. It's got traffic lights, and the traffic light's green on the hour for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we need to get there by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, because we've got from 9 to 9:10
to leave. And
to get started, to arrive on the other side before 9:30,
yeah.
So that the other side gets a green light for 10 minutes coming back. So if we foul this up and arrive a few minutes late, then we have to wait an hour, which is fine, except
I'd rather have that extra hour in bed than outside the tunnel.
You'll have an extra hour to walk.
I haven't decided if I'm walking yet, although George didn't want to get on the boat today, so he probably wants to walk.
Well, if we're arriving at somewhere between 9 and 9:10, we're just going straight through.
Okay.
There will be no stopping. There will be no...
no getting off.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we go at this speed, we won't get there because we're going past all these permanent moorings on the side of the canal.
We could find that all there is between us and the tunnel is several miles of permanent moorings, in which case we never make it.
But yeah, we tried to have an adventure yesterday, but it didn't really happen. Michael had read about this cut that went to a quarry just at the last bridge. Yeah,
they call it the Little Cut now. It was a small canal that went directly into a limestone quarry, and apparently, as the limestone was being, removed off the face, it was just dropped straight into barges to be taken out. And there was a junction with the Leeds and Liverpool that
which is now gone. You can't see the junction.
Yeah, it ran through a small tunnel, and at least a portion of the face of that tunnel is apparently still visible if you go down into this little area. But what I saw on Google indicated that it was, a nature reserve, and there was some, basically there was some stuff I found that said, well, here's the pathway. There's a little, stepped pathway down a steep embankment, and then you can walk along. Yeah, it's in a really deep valley. It did mention a bunch of tires and bits of detritus that had settled down there, but it didn't sound like it was, dangerous or inaccessible. Just a little bit of having to maybe crawl over a couple of burnt down trees and around some big truck tires and stuff. It was really easy to find, but then when we found the steps down into the ravine or valley, all these signs saying, any unauthorized person found in this location will be prosecuted. Private land, danger, danger. Yeah. So we didn't go down because they're not rebellious. There were some photos from inside the tunnel which seemed to indicate that the tunnel is actually, really rapidly becoming actual flowstone, and which you find in limestone karst caves. Yeah, so it sounded really interesting, but it wasn't to be. Yeah. So we've made it to Bridge 152. Past the marina that I forgot what it's called, Lower Park Marina. Yeah, and we are currently passing the floating tunnel / Bully themed dry dock. I think it's a wet dock. A wet dock, yeah. Getting to the bridge and finding that there are a line of more permanent moorings. Excellent. So we'll let you know if we make it in time. Yeah.
We're currently travelling on the summit level of the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. In fact, Barrowford is the highest town on the whole navigation at 487 feet above sea level. When the Leeds and Liverpool Canal opened through here in 1796, it really helped to accelerate the development of the textiles industry in the region. The pre-existing trade in woolen goods expanded and thrived, and Barrowford became a major cotton town.
Here are the remnants of a dismantled railway bridge. Barrowford was once served by a branch line which diverted from the main line that ran between Skipton and Fellridge. It was a passenger train servicing the town that shuttled between Barrowford and Irby, a distance of just a couple of miles. Apparently the train had the nickname of the Barrowford Spud, or Spud Roaster. The reason for this is not known for sure, but it is said that it may be because the locomotive was so small it looked like a portable potato roaster, or possibly that the journey time was the same as the time it would take to roast a potato in the train's firebox. Who knows if it's true, but it's quite a nice story.
The navigation widens here, and there's lots of private finger moorings, which I think belong to the Lower Park Marina. There's a chandlery at the marina, and they also have coal and gas and diesel and all the other usual boater services. I think I also spotted a day boat for hire as we cruised past.
It's only about 3 miles from last night's mooring in Barrowford to the entrance of the Fowlridge Tunnel. We were anticipating that it would only take us about an hour to get to the tunnel entrance, but we didn't take into account the fact that much of the route would be lined with moored boats like it is at the moment. This means that our journey will take longer than we calculated. This is because it's always good etiquette to pass moored boats with your engine on tickover. On the rare occasion you forget to drop your revs, it's quite likely that you'll get an angry boater sticking their head out of their side hatch to shout at you as you chug past.
You can't be in a hurry on a narrowboat anyway, and so of course we've dropped our speed, but the prospect of missing the light at the tunnel and having a 50-minute wait is not that appealing.
That's the village of Salterfirth ahead. We are currently travelling through the West Riding of Yorkshire, but soon we'll be crossing the border into Lancashire.
There's a water tap here in Salterfirth and some visitor moorings, and then on the far side of the bridge are some more moorings and the Anchor Inn. Apparently the pub offers a takeaway service for boaters that don't want to hang around.
Aries here looks like it's been built in the style of a traditional Leeds and Liverpool short boat. Historically, short boats were cargo boats built specifically to match the dimensions of the locks on this waterway. They were 60 feet long, 14 feet wide, and designed to maximize their carrying capability.
This bridge has seen better days. It looks like it needs a bit of attention.
We nearly missed the sign marking the border between Yorkshire and Lancashire. Although we are travelling south, it feels like we've just crossed into the west of England. The sign on the bridge welcomes us into Lancashire, and while we can't say it feels any different, it's a bit strange to suddenly be on the other side of the War of the Roses.
Ahead is the Fowlridge Wharf. We've made it just before 9 for our turn through the tunnel. Although now we're here, we realise it wouldn't have been so bad if we'd missed the lights, as it seems like quite an interesting place to explore.
There's a restored lime kiln here which dates back to the 1790s when the canal was first built. It turns out that this was the destination for the limestone from Rainhall Quarry that was loaded onto the boats on the little cut that we tried and failed to explore last night in Barrowford. The limestone was baked in the kilns at high temperatures to produce quicklime, which was then slaked with water to produce the lime mortar for the bridges, locks and tunnels for the building of the canal.
In the early 1800s, canal barges from the Liverpool docks started to carry imported American cotton here. A warehouse was built so the cotton could be unloaded and stored and then distributed to the many mills along the canal. The warehouse and adjoining stables are now used as a cafe, and there's lots of room for visiting boats to moor along the wharf. A rather large trip boat called the Martin Emperor is based here, and it offers charter trips along the canal, although I'm not sure how much they've been able to get out this year. Very little, I imagine. When I had my family narrowboat holiday here back in 2011, we got as far as the other end of this tunnel. At the time I walked over the top in both directions, and so this time I decided to stay on the boat. Sorry, George.
The tunnel is fairly straight and we can see from this end that there are no boats coming through, so when we get the green light we're off. As you enter the tunnel, you pass under a gauge that indicates the maximum height for boats wanting to use the tunnel. It's pretty roomy, with 7.5 feet of air draft.
The Fowlridge Tunnel is 1,630 yards long, although sometimes it's known as the Mile Tunnel, even though it's slightly shorter than a mile. It's apparently the longest tunnel in the country to allow canoeists and kayakers to paddle through. This means there's a 162-mile coast-to-coast canoe trail that stretches between Goole on the east coast of England and Liverpool on the west coast.
The original plans for the Leeds and Liverpool Canal did not include a tunnel at the summit. Instead, additional locks were planned with a 1-mile-long summit level which would have been 30 feet higher than the current level. Before construction, the plans were amended to include this tunnel, in a bid to improve the supply of water. The completion of the tunnel in 1796 meant that from that date traffic could continue as far as Burnley. It would be an additional 5 years before the Burnley embankment was completed, and travel beyond that point was made possible.
There's no towpath in the tunnel. Historically, boats would be legged through and horses would walk over the top. When a legger drowned in the tunnel in 1886, it was decided that a double-ended steam tug would be used instead to pull the boats through. This was eventually replaced with a diesel tug, and then from 1937 boats needed to rely on their own power to use the tunnel. The traffic light system has been in use since 1963.
My favourite story of the Fowlridge Tunnel is that of Buttercup the cow. The story goes that back in 1912 she fell into the canal at the far end of the tunnel, and because she fancied a bit of an underground adventure, she decided to walk the entire length and emerged at the other end. Thank goodness she didn't meet a boat on her expedition. The story concludes with her being restored to full health via the timely application of a bottle of brandy.
It only takes about 20 minutes for us to travel through the tunnel, but it's still a relief to emerge into the daylight. Tunnels really aren't my favourite, and I know George feels the same way. Sadly, there's no one waiting to revive us with some brandy. Oh dear, I do hate seeing boats like this.
We're nearing the end of the Summit Pound now. It's all downhill to Liverpool from here, although we're only going as far as Wigan.
We're approaching the Barrowford locks, and although this isn't the end of the cruise, we're going to end the vlog here, as it was such a long day. The rest of the vlog will follow in part 2.
So thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, give us a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and subscribe to our second channel, Minimalist Maximal Velocity, where we post time-lapse videos of all of our journeys.